this is something that you're sticking to, and it's not just like a fad for you. So as like the months go on, you'll see those people that originally did give you objections are going to end up coming back to you. And it is like, you never know when something is going to happen in someone's life that it just clicks and they're all of a sudden like, I want to do this now. Because I've had that happen before. I just keep following up. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, yep, I'm ready to join this month. And it's like very unexpected. But it is just like people are going to just do their own thing, and that's what we kind of just support them in it. And if it's like your mom and sister-in-law, you can even just like, have they ever like tried a workout? Like have them over just to like do a workout and like give them a sample of Shakeology and just like show them what like the meal plan is and like what you eat in a day. That could even just like put it in perspective if there's someone that's close to you.
Yeah, I accidentally got a double order of Shakeology, and I was going to try to return it, but I was thinking that I could have that extra little packet to give someone a try to be like, okay, it's not a horrible thing. I haven't told my husband yet. But also my mom, I don't know where she heard it, but she's heard that it was a temporary fix for what I'm doing. And I said, Mom, I'm working out 6 days a week. That's not a temporary fix. Like, I don't know where you heard that. I was like, maybe, you know, the Shakeology, like maybe once I get off of it or wean off of it, you know, it might be hard to, you know, fluctuate into it. But I was like, I don't know how you think that that's a temporary fix. So that was a weird comment, I guess.
People hear all kinds of things. Like it's the longer you do this, you're floored by what people come back with, because you've now understood what works for you, like what the success is when you balance, you know, clean eating. It's a long-term lifestyle solution. You know, it is a long-term balance. And what people continue to come back with, because they Google doctored the solutions, you know, and there is so much out there and they're just inundated, and people just want those immediate results. And really, if you want it long-term, it's not immediate. You know, it's going to take some time. You're going to work at it. But people are going to come back at you, and you just have to smile and say, okay. And you put them on a list for later on. They don't know it yet, but they'll be your customer. They'll be your challenger at some point, because you're still going to be there doing it, and it's going to work. And then they're going to say, okay. And you just, with open arms, you smile and say, come on back. Yeah, come do this with me. It's going to be good. You're going to feel good about it. And, I was going to tell you too about the packets. Here's my advice. And I don't know, Casey, if you've had different experience with this. I don't give packets away anymore. And this is why. I charge you for them, because I have found, that anybody that I gave a packet to never used it, never had value. They were just like, okay. But I found that if they paid for it, they gave it an honest try. And if they gave it an honest try, they're like, that was pretty good. And, you know, I'll give them like I'll give them a little recipe to make with it, you know, chocolate, vanilla, something simple that they might have around the house, and give them that value. And then they're just like, oh, you know what, that was pretty good. Hold on a second. And on top of that, you've got the extra box. So now you're kind of recouping the costs on it too. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I would tell you I know our instinct is to just want to give the Shakeology away because we have it and we want people to just see the value in it, but you're not going to create value for anybody by just giving it to them. If they want it, they'll pay $3 or $4 for it. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah. I don't give it away anymore, like to anyone anymore. But yeah, if you do have like friends or people online that want to try it, like I would just like say it's like $4 for a packet. And then I always just recommend that they try like 4 or 5 though, and drink them 4 or 5 days in a row, so they can just start to see like what it's doing for them, not just like one and then done.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I would have from the very, very beginning. It was a pattern I realized pretty quickly, but I wish from the very beginning I would have stuck to my guns on that one and said, nope, you got to charge, and that's important to create that value. So. All right. So did that help with some of your objections, Lauren, that you're receiving right now?
Yeah, thank you.
Nicole, Jen, do either of you have any objections right now that haven't been addressed already? No? Anything? Can you?
I mean, no objections yet. I just feel like it's real. I'm so new, and I wasn't posting about what I was doing before. So a lot of people, they're like, "What the heck is going on with you?" But not saying anything just yet. They're like, "Oh, that's what you're doing." So I think like it's sort of in the build right now. But I mean, I forget sometimes it's only been like 5 days max that I've been doing that people know about it. I mean, my family, like my husband, pretty much did it until this weekend when I started posting stuff. So we'll see. But I mean, I think, you know, just on the flip side of it, I told Chris this, that I watched her for years and I really don't even know what the flip was. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. So I try to remember that there may be somebody out there, and maybe I'm not reaching them right now, but you know, a year and a half later, they might be ready to take that challenge. And so I just wanted to stick with that, because I go back to sort of like what you said in the beginning. You're sharing that experience, you're sharing how your life is changing. And so somebody out there, and I was listening to somebody else, like, if you change one life, you know, that's a big deal. I'm on the some other groups, and I watch these people post their transformation stories, and that is also motivating, because you know, some of them are really transforming, you know, quite astronomically, and you know, that's motivating to watch that and think like, I could be that person's coach. I could be the person that gets them to come in and into the tribe and change their life. So no objections just yet, but I am writing a lot of these down because I know they'll come up, particularly the financial one. So if you want to talk more about that one, I think, you know, the thing about the medical weight loss, that makes sense. But I think when it comes to like gym or, you know, other shakes that they're doing, I've already started creating like research for what I would say in response, because I know they're going to come up, because those are some of the thoughts I had, like, yeah, that's a lot of money. And, you know, just trying to work through that. But yeah, Chris did a good job of just having a conversation with me. I was a little irritated at first, to be fair, because I was like, I'm ready, let's go. But she didn't know I had been like having that build. So I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, let's go. But yeah, no objections just yet, but I'm sure they'll come. But I was thinking about the temporary fix, and my response is like, you just keep doing what you're doing. And I would say that's the only best response to that, because then they'll see that it's consistent. And that's what I also try to motivate myself to get up in that morning, because I was sore this morning. I did not want to get up. But I got to post, and because this is real, and I'll talk all day. Nothing yet.
Hey, Casey, do you want to take anything on the price objections?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just share this real quick, but we can also share it in the group. Like, we have a Google Doc, and these are, I'm sharing my whole screen. Hold on. The mess. Okay, so these are just some of the common objections that I've gotten. And like, the first one here is like, money is tight right now. And I don't know can you guys see what's on there? Yes. Okay, so like, whenever somebody says that, or somebody has a money objection, I just basically tell my story with it and just how I felt. And I say, like, I totally understand where you're coming from, because I thought it was expensive too. And then I also just remind them, like I say here, like, remember, you're replacing one of your meals with Shakeology each day, not adding to your grocery bill. And like, for me, I actually found out that I saved money when I started drinking it, because I would always just make it and take it with me, like for lunch when I was going out for the day or something, versus stopping at like Panera or Starbucks or something to get food out. And it was a whole lot healthier for me. And then I just mentioned that too, that like, when I'm grabbing food out, I was spending $5 to $7. And then like, for this one here was when I'm saying, say you're getting the all access pass, and you're actually getting each shake for like, or like for a challenge pack, each shake for like under $4, plus a year's worth of workout programs and the support group. So I really just try and break it down. And then I still, of course, leave it up to them. I don't want to like strap them for money or anything, but like, if they can, I always just remind them too, they can always, like, we have the 30-day money back guarantee, and I said that to a lot of people, and I've had very few people ever actually return it, because once they get it and see the value of the program and start drinking Shakeology, most of them end up really loving it. But yeah, that's all. But we'll share that document too.
And another thing that I have found that's been very successful, and I talk about that assessment that I walk through where you're talking about the fitness, and the other aspect of it is the nutrition. If you look at it, a lot of the questions I ask, and you don't realize it when you're having the conversation, but these are traps as well. And I ask about like, hey, do you drink coffee every day? Do you go out to eat? If you go out to eat, how often do you go out to eat? Where are you eating? What are you eating? And what you don't realize is that they're not realizing how much that's adding up. When I talk to somebody and they eat out 5 or 6 times a week, and they take the entire family out, they're like, oh yeah, hold on a second. And just what they spend in eating out in a week, they would have an entire month's worth of meals of Shakeology for them. But it's those steps to get them there to see that. And so the last part of that, when I talk about that you've earned that right to give the link to somebody, it doesn't come with just like, hey, here's the link, bye. I want you to buy it. It comes with a whole assessment of like, this is the program I think you need. This is why I think you need it. This is why I think like 21-day fix is great, because you're busy. Like for me, my peeps, we're all busy and we're on the go. We don't have time to think about these complicated formulas to, A plus B minus a carb plus, a W fruit equals what you can have. Like we can't figure that out. Like throw it in the container and go. I explain that to them. I explain why Shakeology is the value in Shakeology is that, and it's a long process. And for me, like I feel like I'm creating that value for people, and I've had success with that. And so it's going to be a comfort level for you as well. But the point is, like, what the objections that Casey's had, the system that I've got with the assessment is that it's creating value. If you notice, it doesn't jump right in and say like, hey, buy me. And that's what we've really got to get. You got to temper that excitement down of as new coaches is what you're going to have for objections. So you will have them. There's ways to answer all of them. And I will also give you this piece of advice is that if you have an objection that comes back, and you're going to get them, where people will say the most outlandish and outrageous things to you. I sometimes think people say it just to get a reaction out of you. And if I look at it and I have my phone right here and I'm like, what did they just say? Like that might be your reaction. If that is your reaction, don't respond. That's the beauty of social media. That's the beauty of not being live on a, in person or on the telephone conversation. Give it a few minutes until you can figure out how to respond and put that in a positive twist. Like that's another huge, like you don't have to, you'd be like, oh, oops, sorry, I had to walk away for a second. I don't know what you were doing. So don't respond right away unless you know how to spin that into a positive for them to come join you. Okay, so we've got objections down, and we're talking about, we've already started touching on consistency in actions. And you see this, like Nicole's already said, she watched me for years. I had no idea she was watching. She didn't even like any of my posts. Did you guys know that? I never even knew. All of a sudden, Nicole McAfee started liking my posts. I'm like, oh girl, I am so excited. I haven't talked to you since Germany. This is fantastic. It happens. It happens a lot. Like the people that end up signing up for challenge groups aren't the people that are liking my posts every day. It's the people that are watching, and we cyber stalk people all the time. Like it's easier. It's it's being anonymous from behind that computer screen, and it's easy to see. And then all of a sudden something will happen, just like Nicole said. Something's going to happen. Something's going to spark their interest. But is it going to be you that's sparking their interest? Because if I hadn't been out there posting all day, somebody else would have been. She would have been following somebody else. So do you want that person? Do you want that friend? Do you want your sister to sign up with somebody else and say, oh my God, look what I have found? Or do you want them to sign up with you? You want them to sign up with you. So even if you're out there, you're posting and you're like, hey, sweaty selfie, and I just worked out today. And you're like, but nobody cared. Somebody cared. They may not have cared yet. It may not resonate yet. They're kind of waiting to see, what are you doing with this? Like, Are you showing back up? Are you consistent with it? And then when all of a sudden you're consistent with it and you're posting your results, like Lauren, who just like, she's like, hey, I just lost my, 15 pounds with this. I just hit my first goal. You're consistent with your actions. They know to come to you because you have been getting results. And that's where you're going with this. This is what you want to focus on. So that's my blurb on consistency. Casey?
Yeah, and how you touched on like consistency with posting, and then it's just consistency in like all of your actions in this business, like with your workout and your shake every day to show that the products work, and then just consistency with those invites, because you can't send out like 3 invites at the beginning of the month and then not talk to anyone all month and then expect to get people in your challenge group for the next month if you haven't been just sending like those conversation starters, those hey girls and everything, and just growing your network. And that's another one, just making sure you're adding new people to your network every day, and just always just making sure you have that power hour checklist done. And then consistency with just like your personal development too, because it can get rough if you start like ignoring your personal development. It's going to get to you, just everything. So just being consistent with all of your coaching actions, really. And it'll get it, because it's always like, if you are doing it consistently, it's easier to keep going. But once you stop, it takes a lot more momentum to get back to where you were and like get that to keep going. So it's a lot easier just to keep up with it than start and stop. You're going to wear yourself out if you do that.
Yeah, if you stop posting, every time you stop posting, you've lost 3 weeks worth of business, essentially. Yeah. It takes 3 weeks to gain that traction and momentum back. So even if you don't feel like posting, even think of it the same way as like you wake up and you don't want to go to work. I get it. You wake up, you don't want to go to work, but you still have to go to work, right? This is your work. It's easier because it takes 5 seconds versus 8 or 9 hours of your day to get that post up. But be present out there, because that's where the people are going to be watching you and following you. Any other point that I just want to hit on one point that I was looking at my notes. I wanted to check one thing. Touch points for people. Like, you have a conversation with somebody, and again, we go back to that, oh my God, I wanted you to, this is so perfect for you. It takes an average of 6 times of somebody touching something, like you actually sending a link or you talking about it with somebody before they're actually going to commit. So just keep that in mind. And that's just getting them to commit to purchasing the challenge pack. We're getting into a whole other call when we talk about the dynamics of like getting people to commit to actually working out and doing their fitness. But remember that 6 times. So the first time somebody tells me no, I'm just like, okay, 1, okay, 2. And they'll be ready. Very rarely do I get a Nicole that's like, that had been watching, it truly is. So, okay. So that's what we've got, objections. And then it ties right into your consistency and your actions. This really does all tie together. And now this is something that I still struggle with, because if you've ever seen me talk, I have a sticky note on the front of my binder, and that's how I follow up with people. Like, every person that's told me no, I have these giant sticky notes, and I just keep going. And I need to get better. So I can't wait to hear what Casey has to say, because she's got Google Streak. So let's hear about tracking, like the importance of tracking.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what, like when I first started, I did what everyone says not to do. And I basically just used Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger to track whoever I was talking to. But I found like I would see somebody comment on a post or like a post, and I'd be going back. I'd be like, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. And I'd see they had sent me a message that I never responded to, because I somehow opened the message, missed that I opened it, and they just kept falling down, because we're messaging people every day. So you don't want to track with Facebook Messenger. One way you can track is with a pen and paper. Like, if you don't like being on the computer, you're not tech savvy. We don't have to be tech savvy to use Google Streak. It's really easy. But you can use pen and paper. Just make sure you do have some means of tracking. But I'm just going to show you Google Streak on my computer, because it's really easy to set up. And if you have if you literally Google Streak for whatever web browser you have, you can click on it, download it, and it'll just show up right in your web browser. All right. I'm share my screen. Is it sharing my screen? Yes. Okay. There we go. Okay. So it is for Gmail. So this is what it looks like. And like this is for the Shaun T group we all have going on. So I have everyone in my Shaun T group right now, and I am eventually going to invite them to the challenge group that is going to start prep week next week. So you have, whenever you create it's just on the side here, it'll come up and there's something called pipelines, and you can just create a new pipeline. So that's what I did. I created a new pipeline, and then you can edit. Like I just went in and it's really easy. You just rename the stage and you can change all the colors, but that's what I did. And like for the free group, so I just have it in stages. Like I sent them info on getting set up if they signed up for it. Then I have when I check in with them in the free group, when I invite them to the challenge group, and then just kind of the stages of inviting, like when I recommend the programs, send the video, and then join the challenge group. So then you'll just see like in each stage it drops down. And so like I have, like as you can see, some people never signed up for the 14-day free trial. I followed up with all of them once. I will follow up with all of them again, but these, okay, are the people that signed up, and like, so then I just have their name, the stage they're in, and still say I'm planning on checking in with all of them tomorrow in my free group just to see how they're liking it, if they have any questions. All I do once I enter a new person, like say I wanted to add somebody new to this sign up stage, all I do is click new box, I would enter their name, and they're in that stage. And what's cool about Google Streak too is that you can create these columns. If you see these like stars over here, they're like called magic columns, but all you do to get a magic column is click on the drop down and where is it? Okay, let me try and create a new one. Okay, yeah, so because I created these, so this was a new column, and you go to magic columns, and so like you can enter, I did like days in stage or like date last updated. So it automatically just fills in the date that I last updated them, either the date that I moved them to the stage or any notes I had about them, and then the days they've been in the stage. So say this person, I check in with them tomorrow, I just move them down, and then seems to be getting slow. Let me reload it. Usually it just, they'll move right to the next stage then. Sorry guys, I don't know. Now it seems to have disappeared. It usually does not do this. My computer's being, okay, it's coming back. There's an error. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So then they move to this stage. And it's just a really easy way to have everyone in one place for like, you can set up as many of these pipelines as you want. I usually do a new one for each group just so I can keep track of everyone that's in the group. And like, this is all free. And then it's just easy to go in and see like who you talk to, what date you talk to them, and then just any notes like when I start checking in with these people and asking them about their health and fitness goals and everything, I'll start putting notes in there. But that's Google Streak, and it's actually, I know we've had some team calls on it, and there's a lot of YouTube videos on it that are pretty short. Like if you just go look one up, you can figure it out. Like I set it up like in under 15 minutes and like had my first pipeline going. But how have you guys been tracking? What are your systems right now? I know some of you, like Nicole, you said you're really new, but. I don't know.
Hey, Casey,
Are there any?
I got a question for you on it. And you said you sign up, or you set up a new pipeline for each challenge group that you do. So
Yeah.
do you move people over? Like, can you move people from one pipeline to another?
Yeah, you can move people when you're in there, like from one pipeline to the other pipeline. So if I have like a list, like I'll have a list of people then, 'cause some of mine have gotten like pretty big then. That's what like challenge groups. I'm like, I have all these people that I want to, that maybe said no like last month that I want to invite to this month or want to follow up with. So I just move them like right in there into like the follow up stage and then just keep checking in with them. But yeah, you can move someone like from one pipeline to another.
Okay. And I just realized too, because I've got on my iPhone, which I find funny that my iPhone has the Google Streak app, but Android doesn't have an app, like one of my Google phones.
Okay.
But that was interesting. So I need to, I think, just commit to being consistent now. I think it's taking away all my excuses, because do you find that it just helps that memory jogger, like that quick consistency like that?
Yeah, I think so, just because I don't know, I've been finding that my Facebook messages are like getting opened and I'm not reading them and I don't know how it's happening. So even just like seeing their name in there, I know just to go look and see what last conversation I had with them. So I think it does help just for a memory jogger, or like if I'm thinking about like I might have like missed moving someone over, or I had people that just never responded like from like a few groups back, I would just go back to those people and like send them a message again. So.
I know snippets as part of Streak I love. And for those of you that don't know what snippets are, and is that part of Streak or is that part of just Google itself?
I don't know what snippets is.
Okay, so snippets are, yeah. So like when we get customer leads or anything, like any template that you use for an email or a generic email, you can create a snippet. And
yeah, that is part of it. I need to start that.
Okay, so you will love doing Google or snippets then. So I've done that, and you literally just click the button and it says snippet, and it says like for new coaches, here is my new coach welcome. For new challengers, if we get challenger leads, and it basically does the shell for you, and then I can plug in the personal aspect of it. Like I can make it personal if I say send something to Lauren or I send something to Nicole, and you make it personal on that, but it keeps the basic shell, so you don't have to go back and like copy and paste the link to this and then the link to that, and you know, it just, that's been click 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 done. And so I've actually felt kind of efficient on that.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll have to start using that.
Snippet's super easy to use. Yeah, that's been a super easy one too. So keeping consistent. Okay, so how are we on time? Perfect. Okay, so I think we're giving 8 minutes back to you for anything that you have questions on, anything that you might want. If you don't have any questions, just keep either in your team pages or feel free to like double post into the new Coach University too, and be asking those questions, because, you know, we've got 4 coaches in the new Coach University. So you've got 4 teams, different perspectives there. And you've got it also with coaches that are a little bit more seasoned in your team pages that can bring that perspective too. So don't ever hesitate to just double post. Just copy, paste, and hit send. And you'll get responses from somebody somewhere. Or multiple responses. And the same thing too, you guys are all, I'll get you announced, but you've all been added to the Dream Team page. And so the Dream Team page, we talked about that before, is kind of the larger page under Melanie Mitro, who is our upline. And it's all of the coaches that are under her, or the teams and their coaches. And you can post in there anytime. It's a great reference tool, that if you're not finding an answer, you're coming across something that's just stumping you, that's another great place to go search too. So feel free to use that too. Okay, that's what we got for you tonight. Casey, you got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
I'll get this. Yep, I'll get this call. I'll get this posting recorded, or this recording posted, and in the team or in the New Coach University. All right. Thanks for your time tonight, guys. Have a great night.